Hey, Michelle, how you doing?
I am awesome, Kevin, because we're going to talk about my second favorite thing next to tea. And no,
Me?
well, not my dog.
That's so
Yeah,
nice.
not you, not my dog, not my kids, not my
How come the dog
husband.
comes before me? That's not cool. Wow.
No offense
I mean, the
to
husband,
anybody.
yes, but the dog? Wow.
Yeah. So are you going to tell them or am I?
You go ahead. You do the honors.
We're going to talk about chocolate.
Chocolate. Cacao.
Chocolat.
Yes, with a very special guest.
Very special. I love
Say hello,
this
special
woman.
guest.
Oh, hello. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to hear that I'm special. So special. Yeah, we're going to talk about the food of the god.
Yes, exactly. So our guest today is Maria Mancini Sinobo. She is a chocolate maker based in the Bruce Peninsula here in Ontario, where incidentally I used to live actually quite a few years ago.
What? You did?
Yeah,
Why
just
do I
south
not
of the
know
Bruce
this?
Peninsula. Well, just south of the Bruce Peninsula.
I'm in South, near Wyerton.
And we're recording this almost on Groundhog Day. So, Wyerton Willie it's almost, his time to
That's
shine.
right.
Is he still
Or
alive?
not.
Wait a second.
Well, I think there's just an endless stream of like Wyerton Willie the
They
second, the
clone
third, the
them or
fourth,
something.
the 27th.
February 2nd.
I couldn't tell like one groundhog from another. No offense to groundhogs, but they all look the same to me. I mean, come on. Anyways, Maria owns and operates Mayana, where she makes drinking chocolate with heirloom cacao that she sources from farmers who grow it organically in the region of Soconusco, Chiapas in Mexico, where Criollo cacao has been cultivated for millennia by the Maya. Maria was born and raised in the central region of Mexico, in the land of the Aztec civilization. She continues the long tradition of using quality cacao grown in Mexico to create and offer high-quality chocolate, as she just said, the food of the gods.
Yes.
So, welcome, Maria. Thank you for joining us. I'm looking forward to this because I know nothing about cacao except it's delicious. So, Michelle, I think I'll pass it off to you because I'm just the noob here. So I'm just listening. I'm just the audience member at this point.
Maria, it's such an honor to have you here as our first special guest on the podcast.
Yes.
And I just have to tell a little bit of a backstory, Kev. This very persistent person kept contacting me when I had my store.
Okay.
And about demoing some chocolate product. And it was drinking chocolate. I was like, what? You can drink chocolate? What's this about? Anyway, we eventually met up and fell in love with this woman immediately. She's not only just so lovely, but I don't think I've ever met anyone more knowledgeable on chocolate and just I can't wait for her to tell you her story and everything. But yeah, it was pretty much, as much as two colleagues can do is pretty much love at first sight, eh, Maria? We were just so aligned. Yeah,
Amazing.
so I'm excited for you to first of all introduce our listeners about how you came into this business and about your culture, because there's a lot that people don't understand about the origins of these traditions around chocolate and where it comes from.
That's me.
Yes, happy to share about it. Thank you so much, Kevin and Michelle, for having me. Yes, so I'm so passionate about cacao and chocolate and what I'm doing. Happy to share about it. And as I have a lot to share as well. There's a lot that I don't know, especially about cacao, and I'm sure that's what Michelle is going to share today is going to be interesting. Excited.
Yes.
I'm going to try.
To also, yes. And yes, so I'm Mexican. I grew up in Mexico. And cacao, and chocolate, it's always been part of our culture and traditions in Mexico. In Mexico, chocolate is to drink. We have chocolate for breakfast. We have chocolate anytime, as much as people can have coffee as well. But chocolate is a special food that we have for special celebration in Mexico that it's, for example, the Day of the Dead. It's an offering to our beloved people who is no longer with us, because we all as Mexicans love chocolate and drink chocolate. And so a cup of chocolate, it's what we them more than chocolate bars, for example. That's something that there's in Mexico, especially nowadays. There's more artisan chocolate makers in Mexico making great chocolate bars. But yeah, mainly we are used to drink chocolate tradition.
But Maria, correct me if I'm wrong, but along with drinking, there's also a history of cooking with chocolate, because isn't mole sauce?
Yes, that's right.
Got some of that chocolate?
Yes.
Because I've tried it once or twice, and I tried making it once or twice to limited success, but it adds a richness,
yes,
and a bit of bitterness, but like an earthy bitterness, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's the mole. It's also one of our traditional dishes in Mexico. It's always for celebrations like weddings, like baptism, because of all the ceremonies.
This sounds so delicious.
Yeah,
You said for breakfast? That is my idea of heaven.
yeah.
Sounds kind of rich to me. But.
Yeah, like I'll tell you guys later, but like there is a whole chocolate thing with me, and it's my family knows about it. I'm a little bit obsessed, but it has to be really good chocolate. But drinking chocolate, isn't that because, Maria, that like originally there wasn't really, like, we didn't have the ability originally to make it stable, like to harden because of the cacao butter, right?
No, not necessarily. So chocolate actually originated in Mexico. The Mayan culture, even before the Mayan, the Olmecs basically domesticated the tree in this region of Mexico, in Soconusco, Chiapas. Well, we know now that the cacao tree originated in the Amazon, but it's nowadays Ecuador, Brazil, Colombia. Um, but chocolate itself, the drink, the Mayan who first chocolate in the world.
Thank you, Mayans.
Yes. So they somehow found out that if they were grinding the cacao bean, they were getting this paste, grinding it on grinder, which is called metate. And then they were, when you grind it with heat, because obviously down in southern Mexico, it's very hot. The weather is hot, and and that's why we need heat for the cocoa bean to release the fat when we are grinding.
Okay.
So with friction of the stones and with heat, we create this paste that it's like the fats released. So this paste that they were mixing with water. They also had honey. Honey was sacred food for them as well. And probably some were mixed with honey, but there were other ingredients like chili peppers, also flowers, and other ingredients that they started to add to the drink. But it was the base is cacao and water. And then yes, that's how if the quality, because of the fat, the phospholipids and the chocolate help to it's like an agent to create the foam of the drink. So when they were going to have a good quality, it was an elixir for the elite, first of all. And so to prepare this good high quality chocolate drink, there were some skilled women who were in charge of that, and they were putting the drink from one vessel high up to another vessel, and doing it that way to raise a foam of the drink. And so it's known that the leaders of the stations of the like Mayan leaders, in, let's say, in the cities where they were the higher edge of the hair of the empire, they were drinking not just one cup or two, they were drinking pitchers of this beverage a day. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And this pouring from elevation, this is just like chaiwalas. Making chai in India. There are so many things that are like very parallel between tea and chocolate. It's so amazing. And so have you seen them do this? Like where they're pouring?
Yes, I've seen, yes, that, yeah.
And I don't know how they do it because they'll pour it from over their head and it will just land in a perfect stream in the other cup. And then
that's right.
It's
lots of practice.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, don't try this at home.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, Maria, sorry to interrupt, but I had a question, though, because I want to clarify. When you're saying, they drink pitchers of chocolate and all that, so we shouldn't be thinking of, like, today's chocolate. Is that correct? Because,
right,
generally, like in North America, like, we add a ton of sugar to chocolate. So can you clarify, like, because I know that cacao is slightly sweet. It's got a bit of natural sweetness, but generally not as much as what we think of as a chocolate bar or hot chocolate or something.
Yeah, so cacao, there's qualities of cacao. And cacao that we call fine flavor cacao, it can be like an infinite flavor profile that we can find in cacao, depending on the variety, the terroir, because there is the conditions, environmental conditions where cacao is grown, and also the post-harvest practices that the farmers do for cacao. That is going to develop the flavor profile of those cacao beans. And so there we can find like fruit notes, nuts, herbal notes, spicy notes in cacao, and so that's actually the work of a chocolate maker. It's to try to bring out all the natural flavors of cacao. This is what it's called, special chocolate and cacao.
Okay.
We will say that there are certain there's a bitter taste in cacao, but fine flavor cacao coming from specialty varieties, the tannins in the fruit of cacao fruit are less, let's say, compared to what we call commodity cacao or whole cacao, and then so the tannins are less, so bitterness is less. So it's less bitter and more aromatic cacao. Yes, and then in ancient civilizations like Mayan and the Aztecs, when they were drinking cacao, they were drinking food as it is, natural, and with water. It's a sustaining food. It was probably the only caloric food that they had that time, because they were growing maize, they were growing other spices in the area, but cacao was a caloric food, and they could drink it all day without eating anything else, and they were gonna have nutrition, and they were gonna have energy, and also sustenance to go and work all day. So that's why it was a very precious food, a valuable food for them in the first place.
That's amazing. This is so much like tea. So you've mentioned a few things. You've mentioned about, how you may have three main sort of species of a cacao plant, but there are so many varietals, and those varietals develop over like years and years and years of hybridization and adapting to terroir. And terroir, we know that as a sommelier, we refer to that as the taste of a place. So I don't know if you caught that. One of the things Maria said was like, they can have fruity notes in one section. They can have spicy notes in another section. This is exactly like tea, because the plant is influenced by everything that's growing around it. Mm-hmm. And then there's also what the chocolate maker, in this case, instead of the tea master, what they're how they are processing and other influences that they are bringing into their process to influence the flavors. And that slightly bitterness is attributable to the polyphenolic compounds or the antioxidant compounds that are so good for us and stimulate liver enzymes and other things. So like, it's just magical. And I just loved diving into this, Maria, and realizing, oh my God, every time I'm turning a page, I'm like, this is just like tea. This is just like tea.
Yeah.
That's why there's, tea and chocolate pairings are such a popular thing, but I had no idea that everything from this plant itself through husbandry and cultivation is so parallel.
Yes.
It's incredible. And even a lot of the same nutrient compounds that make tea healthful, a lot of them are similar. That's in cacao. As long as humans don't do something to cheapen it.
Yes, definitely. So like when food is natural, we can definitely get all the benefits of food. So there are three major groups of classification. Cacao.
Okay.
It's not necessarily the genetics of cacao. It's called Criollo, Forastero, and Trinitario. In the general people, you probably, as you mentioned, have heard about this of cacao, and you probably have heard that Criollo is best quality. The other ones are not. So there's these three groups of classification, and but the varieties, genetics. There's actually in 2008 there was a research where they say no, it's actually 10 of or from genetics.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I heard 3 when my husband and I were in Costa Rica, and we went to some cacao farm, and they gave us a little education about it. Can you just say the 3 again, the 3 classifications?
Yes. So Criollo, Forastero, and Trinitario. So Criollo means basically, so when the colonizers from Europe, so the Spaniards, arrived in Mexico, south of Mexico, what is today Socorro, Chiapas, or this region in Chiapas, they name the cacao. It's when they first encountered cacao, and they name it Criollo. But Criollo basically means from here or native.
Okay.
Native, and then cacao that was coming from South America to this region, they were calling it forastero, which is foreign or far away, or from far away.
Okay.
And then they also were colonizers, and there was an island that in Tobago. They hybridized the two cacao, Criollo and Forastero,
right?
And they created what they call Trinitario, because it actually.
So that's more modern then? That's a more modern version?
Yeah, I'm not sure when that happened. Probably it's not like it's more new. Yeah, it's like 100 years ago, probably. Yes, something like that. Not sure about that information. But yes, it's pretty new, and so then these are the major groups, and so the cacao that I source and that I make my chocolate with, it comes from Soconusco, Chiapas, Mexico. And these are selected beans from actually 4 native varieties of the region, which is Hola Melonado Soconusco, Lagarto Rojo, Lagarto Verde, and de Amor.
Just sounds so musical.
Yes. So these are varieties that are native to this region, that the beans are fine flavor beans, called cacao fin de aroma in Spanish. And the farmers have gotten this knowledge to work with beans and deliver high quality flavor, fine flavor beans. And so, yes, when you enjoy, that's my when I got to see went to this land. I went to this land, and I got to learn all these. That's what I wanted to offer. I wanted to offer the food that in its natural essence, because of the nutrition uh, value of the plant, of the fruit, of the food, and that's why all this inspiration from how in the beginning it was consumed. That's what I wanted to do myself. Wanted to offer this food, and we drink it because just like coffee and tea. There's some people who wants to enjoy having a conversation over a cup of drink, or just some of the cacao chemical components. It's a very complex food. It has over 700 components, and some of these is like the what is called serotonin, or which it definitely makes you feel good. It's a drink that makes you feel good. It keeps you alert. It gives you energy that it's just not like keep you awake, but it's an energy that it will let you be productive, and also at the same time feel calm and alert. So that's why I found it myself that it was important to share cacao without how do you say, adulterated, right? Adulterated with sugars and with unnecessary ingredients. That it's only just for the taste, right? For having something that it's momentum pleasure, but not something that is gonna give us actually what the plant naturally can give us, which is the energy, the nutrition, and also the taste.
Amen, sister.
I mean, it sounds like it's already a fairly complete, complex food. So then why add more?
It is, I feel like this is, again, another situation where humans take something that was already perfect and then they mess with it in order to make it a cheaper product or shelf stability, or to like adulterate it in some way. And then they try to pass it off as the healthy product that we know it to be, but they cheapen it. And these things are all very unnecessary. I feel like really good dark chocolate, like, just makes me a better person.
Yes, well, that's awesome. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, Michelle, you're the winner here. The best thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Now, Maria, can you talk to us about, because I'm all about the sustainability aspects of food too. So, and the chocolate industry is known to be one of those industries, like the same as the coffee industry and the tea industry are guilty of this in areas as well. Tell us about where you get your chocolate from, and about that about the sustainability aspects.
Right. So yeah, it's all related. So what you just said, and what we're talking about, it's when food becomes industrialized, and the people who the companies, right, operate on the way that they don't think about the food, but they think about like profitable businesses. So they really don't know about cacao. They really don't know where it comes from. They just know how to process any cacao and chocolate. They know how to operate machines. And so that's the difference between industrial chocolate and specialty chocolate. So we were, all industrialization of chocolate is also pretty new. It's like maybe 200 years of industrialization of mass production of chocolate. This company is industrial chocolate. They need cacao. They need the supply of cacao, but because they follow recipes and they follow processes, they don't. They want to get a final result, and they want to get consistency, the flavor of the sweet candies, all the products they make. So they put all these additives, sugars, flavoring,
Right.
And all this to get, I mean, they follow the recipe and they don't care. Well, it's not the quality of cacao in the first place is not important. Doesn't matter what variety it is, where it comes from, what's the origin, who grew it, how it was processed, all along the supply chain. There's no traceability and there's no transparency because that's not what matters for industrial chocolate industrial company.
Right.
And then in the early 2000, in the early 2000s, like 2010, there's chocolate makers that is called craft chocolate makers that started to emerge in the US mainly and Europe, where now it was also equipment to make chocolate. There was more accessible or started to be more accessible. Still, we don't have accessibility to equipment, but we now are able to make chocolate with basic equipment that we can get. There's a couple of companies or 3 companies in the US and then Europe where we have access to equipment. And so I started to make chocolate, and my vision since the beginning was making chocolate with cacao coming from Mexico, because not just because I'm inspired about the history of chocolate, where all it started in because I'm Mexican and because I mean, drinking chocolate is part of my culture, but also I wanted to make chocolate that is from Mexico because it's excellent quality. And so I went to Chiapas. I met the producers, and I know that this producer that I work with is called Finca Cuatro Hermanos. Is the father and 4 sons, and so the family it's working with cacao. They produce also coffee. They also grow other crops. And I knew that I wanted to work with them, and that's the cacao that I am trading with. I source directly cacao from them.
So that's fascinating, Maria. And correct me if I'm wrong. When you are making, like, you're getting this chocolate and you're making your beautiful chocolate elixirs, I don't even know if we told the listeners that she's got chocolate as well as these drinking chocolates, and she calls them chocolate elixirs. You're making your formulations by hand, are you not?
Well, yeah. I mean, the formulations are thought on the way that so cacao elixirs is recipes. All my chocolate is sugar-free to start with. And my cacao elixirs contain at least 80% cacao.
Woohoo!
And the other ingredient is other superfoods. I have a recipe with medicinal mushrooms.
Yes.
And the other recipes is with a mocha with coffee from the same region that I source cacao from.
That's for you, Kevin.
From Chiapas,
That's for
Mexico.
me.
Yes, it's great. It's an elixir because I also added lucuma, which is a superfood. It's native to Peru. It's a fruit that is high in vitamins, minerals, but it's a great source of vitamin C, for example. So the mocha has lucuma and cinnamon from Mexico and Himalayan salt.
They're so good.
That sounds amazing.
Yes, and the spicy, which is obviously my inspiration. It's the recipe, the Aztec recipe, which is my ancestors from the central region of Mexico. I source the chili powder, the chili from there, and also the cinnamon as well. So those are my recipes that I call cacao elixirs from 94% cacao, 87, 82, and 80% cacao. When I'm formulating these recipes, I think of like, okay, what's the dose recommended, for example, of the medicinal mushrooms powder? Then from that, I formulate the way that we consume the recommended doses. especially for medicinal mushrooms, let's say maca and lucuma as well,
Maca is so good.
per day in 1 or 2 cups of chocolate. So if you enjoy this cacao elixir, in 1 or 2 cups, you're getting your recommended daily dose of super or medicinals. And then there's also, I have 100% dark chocolate, which is just pure cacao. I have it in powder because my intention in powder for the elixir as well is just a very practical way, an easy way to melt it. And doesn't matter what tool you're using to actually make a nice frothy chocolate drink. And that's why it's I pulverize it by hand, so it's not powder like cocoa powder that we know, like very fine. It's more like almost granulated presentation.
Okay.
It is. The consistency is always, every time I've worked with it, is very perfect. It's a very perfect consistency. And Kevin, you just pop it in a frother with milk, and like a minute later, you're drinking this beautifully consistent, flavorful, rich dark chocolate drink.
It sounds absolutely amazing. The 100% cacao is the spicy one and the one with coffee. I'm all over those.
It's awesome. And listeners, we are going to tell you how to get this later, but
good, because I want to get to
let us continue to nerd out though, shall we? So
yes.
I want to hear more of what you say, but I just want to pause for a second on the superfoods that you're adding.
That's right.
I'm always a little bit nebulous about the term superfood, but in this case, the herbs that you're talking about are all adaptogenic in quality. And the reason that's significant from a nutrition perspective is adaptogens are those herbs that allow our nervous system to adapt to whatever our conditions that it needs. So if you're a person that manifests stress in a way that you can't calm down, you have difficulty sleeping, like you're just wired all the time and you can't relax, then the adaptogens help to balance your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system to bring you back into a more restful, more even homeostasis. If the way that you manifest stress, though, is the other direction, where you're just lethargic and you're tired all the time and you have difficulty concentrating and engaging in life for other reasons, then again, it brings the sympathetic and the parasympathetic system back into balance. And that's why they're called adaptogens. They adapt. And when I was in school, I remember being so confused by this class of herbs called adaptogens, because you could literally go to the nutrition store and pull out, some sort of a supplement that says it's for energy, and then pull out a supplement that says it's for like helping to induce rest and to calm anxiety. And they got the same herbs in them.
It's the same thing. That is confusing.
An adaptogen is an adaptogen, right? So, but there are slight, I'm oversimplifying a bit. There are slight differences between different mushrooms and different herbs. But generally, when we talk about, what's going to happen in your body after you drink this, you've got all of this polyphenolic goodness and all of the good things about, methylxanthines. I'll explain all of this later, but you've got all of this going into your body as well as these beautiful adaptogenic herbs as well. But they're not contributing a taste, right, Maria? Like the taste is all in your formulation of the flavor. They're just there.
Right. Well, yes, some sort of like, for example, yes, my formulations, my recipes are formulated in a way that you enjoy the chocolate first.
Right.
You enjoy a cup of chocolate. And then, yes, you can taste the coffee. Yes, you can taste the cinnamon and the spicy one and the kick of the chili in your throat. And you can, for the mushroom, for example, the mushrooms, they have this particular taste. You are gonna taste it, but if you compare, let's say drink the four of them, you are gonna taste the difference of the ingredients in the recipe. But yeah, you in the first place, you're gonna enjoy the flavor of the chocolate.
Yeah, it sounds like it's more of a slight modification, and it just is the overall palate.
Well, yeah, we want it also to taste good.
Hey everyone. So, as you can probably tell, the three of us hit it off really well, and we just kept on talking and talking and talking and talking and then talking some more. So rather than having one incredibly long episode, we decided to cut this up into 2 separate episodes. So coming up in your feed in 2 weeks, Michelle and Maria, and me a little bit, but mostly the two of them, are going to be talking about the nutrition of cacao. And as a special treat for Nutrition for Noobs listeners, Maria has generously offered a discount code for you all. So you can try Maria's amazing products by going to mayana.ca. That's mayana.ca and enter the code N4N10, that's N4N10, at checkout. So in the meantime, I'm all alone here in the editing booth, so I thought I'd just do one dad joke solo just because no one is here to stop me. So, why did the donut visit the dentist? He needed a chocolate filling. Okay, so that's it for me. And in 2 weeks, we'll be back with our very special guest, Maria, to talk a little bit more about our new favorite topic, cacao. Until then, eat your greens. And as Michelle would say, be real. This has been Nutrition for Noobs. We hope you're a bit more enlightened about how your fantastic and complicated body works with the food you put into it. If you have a question or a topic you'd like Michelle to discuss, drop us a line at n4noobs@gmail.com. That's the letter N, the number 4, NOOBS @gmail.com. If you haven't already, you can subscribe to the podcast on whatever your favorite platform might be. Also, please consider leaving a review or telling your friends. That's the best way to spread the word. We'll see you next time with another interesting topic. The views and opinions expressed on Nutrition for Noobs are those of the hosts. It is not intended to be a substitute for medical, nutritional, or health advice. Listeners should seek a personal consultation with a qualified practitioner if they have any concerns, or before commencing any actions mentioned in the